Hello everybody, I'm Storm here. Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV Online Endwalker. In the last episode, we met the Legatus of the First Legion, Quintus, and had a bit of a conversation with him. It turns out that he is a true believer in the Garlean doctrine of conquest, unfortunately. And so after that, well, rather fruitless conversation, he put shock collars on the twins and let us kind of roam their camp, where we had some conversation with their soldiers, and then managed to get Euless to at least discuss the option with Quintus about accepting some supplies from the Ulzabard contingent. He refused, of course, but instead sent us out with Euless to try to see if we couldn't salvage any ceruleum from the city, or what's left of the city anyway. We did manage to find some and bring it back, but instead of using that ceruleum to fuel the heaters to keep his people from freezing to death, Quintus has ordered them to use the ceruleum to refuel their armor. So, and after Euless went and, got a briefing from Quintus, they came back with what their decision is going to be. And the decision is going to be is to take Alphino and Alice prisoner as hostages and deliver an ultimatum to the Ulzabard contingent. Leave all their supplies and go home, basically. And at that point, they'll release Alphino and Alice. A poor decision. But we'll still see where this goes, because we know that Thancred is still following. So we're playing along. And we'll just see what happens. So we now need to talk to Euless here. And follow him back to Camp Broken Glass to deliver Quintus's ultimatum. I don't think things are going to go the way Quintus would like. I'll just say that. So, Euless? Alphino and Alice will be fine, providing they do not resist. They won't. You will accompany back to your camp, where I will meet with your leader and present Lord Quintus's demands. Before we depart, however, there's something I would ask of you. Assuming your contingent complies, the supplies they surrender will need to be transported here. That task falls to Legionaries Marcellinus and Octavia. We'll pilot Magitech armor to your headquarters. You are to inform them that we are leaving shortly. Tell them to ask the Ill for further details, in those words. Once you've seen to that, meet me by the exit. Since you're telling me to use the specific wording, it's some sort of code. Very well. Marcellinus? You again. Ask the ill, he said. So that's to be the way of it, after all this. Ironic that you should be the one to deliver the news. If those are my orders, then so be it, for the glory of Garlemald. Yep, it's some sort of code. And Octavia? What do you want with me? Ask the ill. Lord Quintus has reached a decision. I knew he would understand, that he would recognize that the savage is ruthless, ruthless, merciless creature, and to defeat him, we too must be uncompromising. I am ready. In the name of Emperor Varus, for the glory of Garlemald, I will fulfill my duty. Things are not going to go well for you. Alright, so I need to speak with Euless. There he is. Have you done as instructed? Their duties involve more than the transportation of supplies, don't they? Duty is really a simple thing. We have been given additional orders, though whether we will be required to follow them depends entirely on your contingent. You and I are in this together now, like it or not. We have to cooperate. There is one other matter, a place I'd like to visit on the way to your camp. It's a short walk from here. Follow me. Alright, well, it's in the ruins. Hard to continue calling this a city. Euless lingers by the ruins, reluctant to leave and reluctant to stay, unable to move on. Alright, well, we'll wait.
This is my home. Our home. At least it was until that night. I was with Lord Quintus when the capital fell, and thus spared. My family, who did not own a radio, were less fortunate. When dawn came, I made my way here. My parents, my little brother and sister, they were still inside. But they weren't themselves, and they tried to. And I had to. I'd promised to take them away from the capital that very morning, to somewhere safe, to hide until the fighting stopped. I promised. The Garlean flag bears a chain, the bonds between our countrymen. A red link at its center, the blood of the fallen. Our loved ones who lived and died for Garlemald. But if she too fell, who would be left to remember them and their sacrifice? What enduring proof would there be that they were ever here? If we had turned to your gods, would they have saved us? I'm sorry, forget I spoke. We should go.
It's no use.
I would say that though Garlemald may be toast, you are still breathing. And that's something.
Believe me, I do not enjoy being here any more than you. But she wanted us to play along, so that is what we will do. so cold. Painfully so. Unbearably.
I've been thinking about what Quintus said. About why no one would accept Garlean rule. Irreconcilable differences. When coexistence isn't an option, only conquest remains. Varys at Gimlet said much the same. Only by uniting the world beneath a single standard would we rid ourselves of the Ascians. United as one people. One race cleansed of imperfections. A cold and unforgiving vision. And when we fail to live up to their standards, what place is there for us in their world? But the truly sad, truly frustrating thing is how damnably similar it all is to the lofty ideals of Father and the Forum. Non-intervention. Always non-intervention. Protect our knowledge and our people, and to hells with the rest of you. And yet, I can see how it happened. Varys and Father looked to their elders for guidance and took their virtues as their own. But for this world was of their making. In who else could they place their trust? All of us lost in a sea of chaos. Searching desperately for purpose and meaning. But it shouldn't just be an extension of another's. It has to be ours. It has to be. We all have a stake in this world. No one should be silenced.
I won't deny that we lack the experience of people such as Father or Quintus. Perhaps they've come to see the world as a series of problems, and the most efficient way of solving them, to reduce everything to fundamental forms. A stone is a stone, a cloud, a flower, no more than that. Simple descriptions that strip the subject of distinguishing characteristics. A man is a man, divided according to race, creed, or allegiance, and to some, defined by such associations.
Is that what you think?
In my misbegotten youth. But what I believed wisdom was no more than aggressive ignorance. I've since learned to look beyond the banners and the politics, to see people as individuals with their own hopes and dreams. As for my dream of building a better world, well, every day I'm reminded that it is far more complex than I had ever imagined. But it only spurs me onward, to find the wisdom and the strength to see it through to the very end.
All of our supplies and an immediate withdrawal. These are your conditions?
Demands. And you forgot about the airship. Once again, you will leave one behind. It will be used to return the prisoners. Their collars will be removed prior to the exchange.
So in the end, not even Father's expertly worded rhetoric could deter you from your chosen course.
Huh?
Not that I thought for a moment that it would. I've no love for violence, of course, but ours is a cause worth fighting for. I just wish he'd realize it too. Sometimes the only way to protect the ones you love is to take a stand. To refuse to suffer in silence. I want you to know I share your conviction. Whether it be on the battlefield or in the debating chamber, I won't back down. I guess what I'm saying is...
You've found your own reason to fight.
Yes. Yes, I have. God's willing, there will come a day when we can finally lay down our arms, and there will be peace. But not until the Telophoroi have been defeated once and for all. And you, brother, will have a vital part to play. By your words and deeds, you'll lead the way.
I pray I am up to the task.
There'll always be naysayers. Those who think us fools for even trying. It's easy for learned elites to criticize earnest efforts and assert their moral superiority, all without offering alternatives. Not that their sophistry has ever wounded you. So stubborn and strong. Stronger than you even know. Don't ever change, you hear me? If you stumble, I'll be there to catch you. Or give you a thick ear. Maybe both, for good measure.
Thank you, Eorzea.
Hey, Estinian. It appears the situation has changed.
The scouts have secured Eorzea and Alphino. Their collars were removed without complication as well.
Good job.
They report no casualties, not for their party nor the guards, who will wake from their premature slumber in due course.
It would appear the situation has changed. I propose new terms. We have information that will be of great interest to Lord Quintus, and I wish to speak with him in person.
No. In the event you rejected our first proposal, we came prepared with a second.
As expected.
Ambush!
Alright, that's how they want to play it.
More are coming! Make ready!
We, the loyal soldiers of the First Legion, proud servants of Garlemald, of the fallen Emperor Varys, shall safeguard these lands from the barbarian hordes until our countrymen return! Stop, both of you!
That's one way to calm everybody down, I guess.
This child may be the worst emissary I have ever seen.
We received an urgent communication from the Grand Company of Eorzea. Envoys from the Imperial Army, led by members of the 10th Legion, came to Alamigo and requested an audience.
Interesting.
They explained that their efforts to coordinate the reclamation of the capital with the aid of the 4th, 5th, 8th, and 12th had ended in failure. Communication between most legions has broken down entirely. Most of the 10th's conscripts have deserted, leaving their forces severely depleted. That is why, unable to continue the fight on their own, they and their allies turned to the Grand Company of Eorzea for aid.
Very interesting.
Lies! Every word!
It is the truth, and I have not finished. The 10th has requested that we deliver a message to Lord Quintus. Have the ill stand down.
You have been listening, my lord? What are your orders?
Inform her that we will honor the 10th decision.
So the Empire is truly no more.
Bereft of hope, and now dignity. I release you from your duty. I take solace, your radiance, in the knowledge you are not here to witness our debasement. 'Twas a grand, glorious dream we shared. Of a world united, of peace and prosperity. We are ghosts, you and I, memories of days gone by. Bonds forged in blood that I will not see tarnished.
Death before dishonor, huh?
Quickly! We have to reach the station before it's too late.
If there is still a chance that Quintus will agree to a truce, we must take it.
I just hope we get there before he and his men do something rash.
Well, he's doing something rash. Yep. Well, I hate to kind of put it this way, but it's not the worst way it could have turned out. Not the best, but not the worst. At least we weren't forced to wipe his entire army, whatever's left of it, out. Or at least they didn't force our hand. So now they get to make their own decisions. Alright, Euless. We'll make no attempt to resist. Alright, let's see ya. Much more has occurred since last we met. As for determining what comes next, we must speak with Lord Quintus. Well, we don't know what's going on yet. Before we proceed, tell me what you know of the First Legion and the disposition of their forces. They're pretty much done for. Well, they were preparing for war while the refugees in their care were left to go hungry. A reckless, short-sighted plan that risked the welfare of the people they were sworn to protect, as well as their own, yes. Nevertheless, we cannot compel them to accept our aid. If we were to arrive in force with the intent to do so, we would only incite panic, but perhaps they can be persuaded to follow one of their own. Go with Euless back to the station and have him lead the refugees here. Some may be unwilling to or unable to leave, but for the time being, I'll take what I can get. Alpha No, LAC and the scouts sent to extricate them should already be at the station. I will also have our other comrades in the area lend their support should it be needed. Understood. All right. We now have some side quests, but we'll worry about those later. All right, gotta head all the way back. Because, well, that aetheryte doesn't work. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and pause, and I'll be back once we're in the area. All right, here we are. I was also thinking that likely one of the reasons why Euless was so adamant about the tempered not being able to be cured when we suggested as such was because of what happened with his family. They became tempered and he was forced to kill them. So he doesn't even want to entertain the idea that maybe he didn't have to do what he did, but you know, at the time he didn't know. All right, well, let's start with Eorzea. Tis a comfort to see thee none the worse for thy recent ordeals. So far, so good. Raha. Oh, I did not expect you to arrive so soon. There's been a development. Perhaps you had best see for yourself. And the 1st Legion soldier. What are you doing back here? Where are Euless and the others? Hold your horses. Alize? Ayame and Euless. We arrived just before you did, and too late. Too late for what? What's happened? It's Lord Quintus. He took his own life. The news about the 10th, he relieved us of our duties. Then, when he was alone, he... No, he wouldn't. Thancred and the others, assisted by the soldiers, have seen to the remains. In due course, shall the legatus be afforded a proper burial. He released us from our duty. He wanted us to be free to choose our own fate. Without him to guide us, I have just this moment spoken with Lucia. We are ready to commence the transfer of the refugees here to Camp Broken Glass, should they be willing to accept our aid. Some would rather die, but most of us just want to live. Songs and standards be damned, we just want to live. We'll need to speak with the refugees. They'll have to decide for themselves if they wish to come with us. If any would prefer to stay, we can have supplies brought over for them. It'll be a hard journey for the others, but we'll see they reach our camp safely. I guess, and since you were the Legatus' lieutenant, you're the one in charge now. All right. Stibidianus. It was only ever a dream, wasn't it? To think we could reclaim it, rebuild it all ourselves. Before this all began, I sent my wife and daughter away to the provinces. If there's a chance I might see them again, I'll take it. So take me with you, please. Certainly. Alright, say so? Well, got the Aetherite sorted in the end. All it took was a few adjustments and now it works as well as it ever did. From what I can tell, the one in Laturum is also functioning as normal. That's where you lot are staying, isn't it? Now that most of us are packing up and leaving this place, I reckon there'll be more use for me and my skills over at your camp. Alright. We can attune to the Aetherite now. Alright, and a bunch of side quests, which I will take care of again on my own. Actually, I don't think we're heading up here. No, that's got the little marker that says it's down. Okay. And it must be in that train. Yes, there we go. Flavius. Ah, it's you, the one who treated me with such kindness. I heard from the others that you're not from around here. I thought you were one of us. Not that it makes much difference now. Purebloods, migrants, savages. After a while, the words start to lose meaning, until all you're left with is anger and fear and hate, and I'm too tired. If you and yours have come to offer aid, I'll be glad to accept. Good. Get you some treatment. Ingrid. Best not to dwell on it. Not when there's work to be done. Euless. Why? We have much to discuss. Our rescue, the attack on Camp Broken Glass, what we'd hoped to talk about with Quintus. But all that can wait. More urgent matters demand our attention. Are any of the refugees willing to come to our camp? Yep, they are. I think the 12. You and I should go first and secure the route back to Camp Broken Glass. With all the creatures and temperate skulking about, I expect we'll have our hands full. This should come in handy. Conqueror's Chain, courtesy of our Leminson friends. I'd save it for the tempered, though. Yep. We'll, grab who we can. I'll mark a few points that need surveying on your map. Once you've taken care of the riffraff, we'll meet you back at our camp. Alright. Yeah, we've got some places to survey on the way back. Looks like I got a little bit of a ways to go before we get there. Alright, so I'll pause and be back. Alright, here's our first destination. Actually, before we hit that, let me get my, get the chocobo out. Alright, this is just a saga. All right. For next one's close enough. Let's see what we got here. Tempered. Okay, can't use the chain yet. There we go. Well, somebody should be along to pick him up. Get him back to camp and get him cured up. Now, this one doesn't have any purple smoke, so I don't think we're going to be actually having to fight anything here. You see no threats on the path ahead. Indeed. Oh. That's a hunt target. All right, here we go. Purple smoke. Tempered. Alright, let's get you secured. And there is Thancred. Ah, there you are. As expected, I ran into a few beasts who went down without much of a fight. The Tempered proved somewhat troublesome, but those changed to keep them under control until our allies take them into custody. With that taken care of, I'm to gather a few supplies, then return to the station. Well, I see to that. Would you mind appraising Lucia of our progress? As it happens, I have some rather pertinent information from our recent scouting forays, but I'll save that for later. First things first, and all that. Alright. Well, let's report to Lucia. Alright. Ah, Yami. I was informed of Quintus's suicide. It must have come as a great shock to his men. Or the refugees. I'm told some were receptive to a proposal, but I would hear your first-hand account. Alright, well, give it the rundown. That so many did not hesitate to accept proves how desperate their situation has become. We'll do our best to make them feel welcome. The troops who participate in the ambush are no exception. They will be afforded the same treatment as any other refugees, perfidy notwithstanding. Perfidy? Okay. After all, even if I wanted to make an example of them, there's no one left to learn from it. I will tell our allies that these soldiers were acting under the direct orders of the legatus, and that following his suicide, they offered a full and unconditional surrender. Perhaps Quintus thought that had he lived, he would be tried as a war criminal, and his men punished with him. Perhaps, by taking his own life, he hoped to absolve them of any culpability. Or perhaps, like too many others, he was a true believer to the end. I think that's what the case was. Who can say? I didn't know the man or his heart. His reasons, noble or otherwise, died with him, and it falls to us to clean up the mess. Alright. Alright, what's next? I assume you're curious about how matters have progressed here in your absence. Quite well, as it happens. Now that we've procured ceruleum from Tapper's Den, the recently repaired heaters can provide much-needed warmth. Furthermore, we prepared sufficient food for everyone. Those from Tertium shall find a hot meal waiting upon their arrival. Probably their first in a while. There's one for you, so go ahead and get some well-earned rest. I believe that we're capable of wielding a ladle or two without your assistance. On your way, might I ask you to seek out Ystilla? She was but recently attending to the wounded, but she's meant to be taking a rest herself. See that she is. Alright, we'll, go tell Ystilla to take a break. That's what I thought was about to happen. Alright. Well, that was where I was going to end the episode anyway. So, we'll just stop here for now, and that's where we'll pick up when we come back for next episode. So, hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Go ahead, like, subscribe, and comment, and I will see you next time.